Sorry to come up behind you, officer.
You're fine. In housing. So it depends what the judge tells us. So if the judge tells us, hey, leave everybody where they are, then we'll pull back and not put people in the housing that we had already arranged.
Would January 3rd be when everybody else has to leave the park, like all in one, or is there?
Depends. Again, it all depends on what the court tells us.
For the time being, because well, so the default that's happening right now, the signs are being placed saying December 30. And then January 3rd is when everybody has to leave the park. So if tented individuals stay until January 3rd, they wouldn't expect to be swept then.
They wouldn't expect to be swept?
Yeah, right. They wouldn't have to leave, or what? How does that
Well,
work?
it depends. It depends what the courts tell us. Since there was a restraining order filed in the federal court, it depends what the judge tells us.
Would that come before January 3rd though? Because I know court things can take a while.
The judge can. My understanding is the judge can issue a temporary restraining order. Keeping us from doing this.
Can do that.
Can do it and can do it quickly. So the paperwork's already filed.
So why are you doing this now? Why don't you just wait to see what the federal judge thinks?
And/or a fine of up to $1,000.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. Why are you doing this sweep now? Then why don't you just wait to see what the federal judge says?
Well, do you see a sweep going on?
Well,
Has anybody gone to jail? Has anybody gotten a ticket?
Well, we'll see what happens. It looks like when you see multitude of officers coming up, it's at least threatening to have people move on. So your intention then is not to sweep people out of their homes prior to this year? This year.
Okay. Yeah, nobody is getting swept out of here.
This year?
This year.
Okay. On the record, can I ask you one more question, please?
Sure. What's your name first?
My name is Herman Kalfin.
Hi, Herman.
Hi there. The question I have for you is, how come none of the officers and none of the parks folks are wearing personal protective equipment, PPE? They're just wearing like schmatas and cloths. But that keeps the spew of the COVID down, but only PPE actually protects the user. So if you're in, say, a confined space like your office is, and you're just wearing the schmata or nothing, and one person has it, you're at risk. I don't see anyone wearing PPE. Why not?
This is what my policy to wear.
Why? Why don't you wear PPE? Even KN95, the Korean standard, which is so readily available, that will protect you.
Okay,
why don't you protect yourself?
I answered your question.
But why?
Answered your question.
But why don't you protect yourself and everyone else?
Under what circumstances would you be sweeping here before January 3rd?
Before January 3rd? We're not going to.
No sweeps before January 3rd.
Clear answer, and then I just wanted to get.
Did I hear that right? No sweeps before January
You
3rd.
heard that right. He said no sweeps before January.
No sweeps before January 3rd. Okay, got it.
We're letting the court.
People's lives depend on that.
We're letting the court.
When do we hear what you've heard from the court? When does that come out? Do you know?
It'll come out from the courts.
Okay.
So why was there never given a date for phase 2 and phase 3? There was no dates given ever.
If the judge accepts the application tomorrow, does that mean that you will come down and take all the signs down?
No, I won't take the signs down until I hear from the courts of what their if the court said we're going to put a stay on this until we can have a hearing, then we'll take the signs down.
Okay, thank you.
What if
there is no phase 2 going on right now?
No, I know, but the signs you guys put out originally only had a date for phase 1. It had there was no information about phases 2 or 3. And so when they just started showing up, nobody knew anything and everybody freaked out.
So if you don't hear,
this is where we're at now.
If you don't hear tomorrow from the judge, then I assume that those signs will not take it, that you'll take down the signs or do something, because January 3rd, because the judge has not made a decision yet, and maybe it'll happen on Monday.
Yeah, we're not again, the courts do their work. And we have no plans on sweeping everybody before the new year.
You have no plans of sweeping anybody before the new year, or everybody? Anybody? Can I have an answer to that question? I'm sorry to interrupt.
2 days before the city council.
Yeah, there's no plan to sweep it.
Right now?
January 3rd is before the first city council meeting, which is January 5th.
Now, that timetable can be sped up depending what the court says. Courts say, no, you're good to sweep and remove people from the park because of the health conditions and because of the problem it's just created for neighbors, then we can do that, and we will do that.
So if we don't hear from the judge tomorrow, we come and take the signs down because the signs won't make sense.
No.
But then people don't have to move. That's not correct. They're not. You're not going to sweep on Sunday if you don't hear from the judge tomorrow.
Again, Abby, I explained it once. We don't have any plans to sweep right now.
No, I'm talking on Sunday.
On Sunday, no, we're not going to sweep on Sunday.
May I ask a clarifying question?
January 3rd, which
That
is...
just gives us a time frame.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to inform people and leave all of our options on the table.
I see.
If you have an approval, a judge says no problem, you're good to go. I have a question. If you have no problem, there's one question.
I've had enough of Herman because
one question.
Annoying.
Well, I love that. I appreciate that. But I want to know, if a judge says you're good to go before January 3rd, are you going to sweep people? If the judge says you're good to go tomorrow, will you sweep people tomorrow, for example?
We're not going to sweep people. We'll do it on our timetable, Herman.
But anytime after the judge says, okay, it could be any time after.
We can plan it and do it in a way that's the best to move people into a place where there can be housing.
So it could be any time. And you're adding a caveat about moving into housing, which we could delve into, but maybe someone else wants to ask that question about moving people into housing.
Well, it was actually all in place and we're ready to go, but because of this TRO file, we're going to have to wait on that until we get a sense of what the court's going to tell us. If the courts say don't move anybody out, if the courts say don't move anybody out, leave everybody in place and don't deal with it. Because the court ordered. So if the courts say you can't move anybody out, then we won't move people out. We'll have to wait until a trial, and that could take some time, and that means we won't be able to house people. Our goal is to try to get people housed before the rain starts next week, but that's going to be shot.
I thought the rain's starting in 2 days.
But a question on that. Can't there be voluntary move out?
I can't make it.
Sorry. I got this one. If there is housing available that you've arranged, which would be great, can there be a voluntary move out? Can people start moving into it if they choose to?
Yeah, but it wouldn't make sense for us to do that.
Well, I thought you arranged it. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for us to do that. Of course, tell us to leave people in place. I mean, we're trying to solve a problem. And so if the courts are saying, no, we want you to leave everybody where they are, they want to leave everybody where they are until the courts can have a full hearing on it, which should probably take a week or two.
Okay, I'm getting it like a third position. Position 1 is the court says you can go to 2. Position 3 is
that's a policy. Yeah, I get it. No, I get it. That's a policy decision.
Question 2 seems like an important.
Yeah, that's a policy decision that will have to be made. Will we want to piecemeal it or let's do it all at once? And my preference is staffing-wise, personnel-wise, cost-wise, probably do it all at once.
Thank you for your answer.
Do what all at once? Exactly.
Move out. Hey, how are you?
Oh, good.
Meaning-
How are you? I'm afraid I stepped in a little late here. I would just like to ask, are you open to hearing our suggestions as far as the solution you're working on?
Sure.
Because we, as a community here, have been discussing possibilities of having multiple spaces throughout Santa Cruz where we can designate campsite Remember, they had behind the eyes of the wall. It was for them in the first place. Do you think that would fit it all into your plan?
Well, that won't fit into my plan, but that's a.
May I walk in front of you guys for my shot? Thank you. I'm going to turn around and come back the other way.